something good for you, and one way or another is going to come out of it on the other side. You're going to be a lot stronger. You're going to be more resilient. You're going to develop these amazing attributes that you wouldn't have had if you didn't go through that battle with alcohol first. In the beginning, alcohol was this amazing, fun, cool thing, right? It was in all the movies. American Pie, Van Wilder. There was one I really loved called Glory Days with Ben Affleck. That's D-A-Z-E. And, for those of us, I'm an early 80s baby. So, those that are older than me and maybe a little bit younger, really, there was such a culture in all of our media telling us that this is the way we connect, we build memories, it's how we socialize, it's just a part of life. And at first, in high school for me, high school and college, it really became a part of all the different social interactions where you wanted to be included, you wanted to be part of something. It was this magical, exciting, interesting thing. You got a hold of that big case of cheap beer, and the first one cracks, and it's almost like you're just arriving at your vacation. All the other cool kids are around. It's just this amazing, fun thing, you think. And at first, it might have even it felt that way, but it was a trick. 20 years later, that relationship with alcohol, it's evolved into something completely different. That feeling of magic is gone. Even though there's something that tells us, that we're still seeking that positive outcome, but it doesn't produce it. Only a few drinks in, we're just drinking more and feeling worse, and you're not able to create that exciting feeling that you thought was magical anymore. Now it's just habitual, and then you end up heavily intoxicated, eating terrible food, drinking bad, possibly making bad or dangerous decisions behind the wheel, not remembering things, and your conscience is telling you that there's something so much better, that you've got purpose, that you're wasting your potential. And I want to talk just a little bit about that progression of how it starts to where it goes to and what we can do to get back out of that terrible habit that our body has become addicted to. So I listened to this audiobook a couple of times a few years ago called Alcohol Explained. And I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes here because this is some really good stuff for a person like me who's very analytical, that likes to understand details, that likes to understand how things actually work. So alcohol has an impact on our dopamine, which is kind of the short-term happy feeling chemical, that thing that our body produces when we're flipping through TikToks or Reels and you see something that makes you feel this little spike of something, you feel positive for a moment, and then it goes back away, which is different than serotonin, that deep feeling of contentment after achieving a goal you've worked on a long time, after a hard day's work, after knowing you've moved in a positive direction. Alcohol spikes our dopamine. Our bodies fight against that because we're poisoning ourselves, and over time our body becomes really familiar with it. It becomes more efficient at fighting that synthetic dopamine spike that we're poisoning ourselves into. You'll definitely notice this in your sleep. When you drink a bunch, you might pass out, you have terrible sleep, but you're wide awake in 5 hours. 5 hours is when it's going to come, because your body has then created all these chemicals to counteract, to overcome the poison that we've put into it. So over the years, it goes from an excess of dopamine to we have a drink and it spikes our dopamine. So we start at baseline. There's a certain baseline of dopamine where we're fairly level and balanced. We have a drink, it spikes above that baseline, but over time it drops below that. Each drink, it'll have a quick spike and it'll drop below. That second drink, will spike. Maybe we'll come a little above baseline, then we'll go further below. But by about the third or fourth drink, we are now way below baseline, and we have a drink and it brings us up closer to it, and then it drops us even further down. 5 or 6 drinks in, we're way down there. We're drinking, it's giving us these little spikes, but we can't get back to baseline. So we drink more and more, yet we get further and further away from baseline. And we're pursuing this feeling that we thought we could get out of it, that at one time we did. It's synthetic, it's poison, it's not truly good, but in the beginning we thought it was. And the reality is, once you hit that point, there is no such thing as dialing it back. Our brain has literally developed these neural pathways that understands how to counteract the alcohol. You can never go back. You can never get to the point where it's going to bring you those good feelings that you thought you were taking in the beginning. It's done. It's over. And that's just the reality. There is no going back to being a regular drinker. Once you become a habitual drinker, once drinking makes you start feeling worse and worse, and you start drinking more and more to pursue that feeling, it's done. And I think a lot of people on this journey, they've recognized, hey, I got to get this drinking under control. So they try to do something like I did. Hey, I'm going to take 30 days off and I'm on top of it. And then I'm only going to drink on the weekends. And, you might be able to white knuckle it through that for a little while, but it's only a matter of time where the weekends become Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you're just struggling just to go 1 or 2 days without it. And you might tell yourself you have it under control, but it's slowly and steadily getting worse and worse because those neural pathways, they've already been developed. So you're further developing the neural pathways of that addiction. So once we accept the reality of our addiction to alcohol, what can we actually do? Because man, once it gets you, it gets you, and a lot of people never get away from it. It ruins their lives, it ends their lives early, it makes them unhealthy, it ruins their relationships, it ruins their finances, it takes away all their potential. And man, I can tell you, I know deep within my heart that I'm just dripping with potential, and the biggest barrier was alcohol. I'm less than a month away now from 2 years without it, and I'll never drink again. I made that commitment at 1 year. I made, initially it was a 6-month commitment, and at 90 days into that, I said, no, I'm going to go a year. And when I hit a year, I said, I'm done forever. And I still get a little emotional talking about it. The worst thing in my life created my mission and my purpose. And so something good for you in one way or another is going to come out of it on the other side. You're going to be a lot stronger. You're going to be more resilient. You're going to develop these amazing attributes that you wouldn't have had if you didn't go through that battle with alcohol first. So what do we actually do to not only get this under control, but get past it? You'll hear me say this over and over again. Most people just can't put it down and be done. And if you try to do, one of the worst things I see is when people are quitting. They make it to 90 days. I don't know if you've heard this before, but 21 days creates a habit, 90 days creates a lifestyle. And that's like the saddest thing, to see somebody hit their 90-day goal and then go back. And it's guaranteed that they're going to be at the same place, probably worse. When I hit that first 30 days, man, I fell off for almost 2 years, waking up in gravel by busy roads. I took it to a different level, because after that first 30 days, I got this under control. And then it was just like, I was such a struggle to get to that first 30 days. I went crazy after that. 90 days, that's the worst time to walk away from your sobriety, because that's when you've actually created a lifestyle. And then for me, a year was an identity. It was who I had become. And stopping in the beginning is hard. There's another step that I wholeheartedly believe for a bunch of us, especially men, who are really we know we've got something so much more that we can do, that we can provide. There's something really deep in us that's calling us to be amazing. And we need to build the strength, the resilience, the certain attributes that will let us overcome that alcohol. And so I don't care what form you choose, as long as you do it consistently with discipline and intensity to a level of discomfort. Physical fitness is the key that unlocks everything. Everything in life. Gives you the ability for everything else to seek out discomfort, to go head on into challenges, to appreciate and feel serotonin, feel that sense of contentment when you've done something hard, when you have seen something through, when you've kept a promise to yourself. Physical fitness, when you commit to it and you don't miss, and you don't wuss out, and you don't go light, you prove to yourself over and over again, day after day, week after week, month after month, that you're going to keep the promises to yourself, that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. You're going to start getting a lot tougher. And with more time, you start to be able to develop all those strengths, that discipline that you can apply towards alcohol. So for me, the gym is what set me free. It doesn't matter what type of physical fitness. I think the basics that you have to do, you can't half-ass this. You can't just kind of, I'm going to go try a little bit of this or that. Bare minimum, you got to do at least 4 days a week, at least an hour a day, and go intense. Don't hurt yourself. Figure out what you're doing to the point of not causing harm, because you can't continue on this path if you've done damage. But I don't care if it's cycling, if it's jiu-jitsu, if it's yoga, powerlifting. As we get older, I think that's not the best idea. I mean, I do strength training and bodybuilding for aesthetics, to sculpt my body. That's what I took an interest in. Doesn't mean that's what you have to do, but that's what I've been working on, is truly sculpting my body into a work of art through hard, uncomfortable, intense, consistent activities and discipline. And that was the thing that gave me what I needed to get past alcohol. And then when you get past alcohol and this physical fitness stays a part of your life, you start to apply that same discipline, that grit that you've developed, the ability to go head on into discomfort, to solve problems, to get through challenging things, and you can start applying that to everything else. And as I bring you along on this journey, as I share this with you, there are the things that I've done, and there's the things that I'm working on. And I want to always do my best to clarify what I've actually done, and I can speak about from the results versus my thesis and what I'm working on. I quit drinking, got myself fit, getting in better shape every day, for about almost 4 years into my fitness journey. So it took me almost 2 years from the first day I stepped into the gym until my last drink. If I understood a bunch of this stuff we talk about, it would have been a little bit quicker journey, but it was the journey I was on. I went super intense with my workouts, 3 to 4 hours a day, 7 days a week, had tendonitis in both elbows and both knees. Didn't understand nutrition, didn't understand workout programs. And along the way, I went through, the thing that was truly harder and more intense than alcohol, and it's the thing that stepped my mental and spiritual resilience up to the next level, was a brutal, unhealthy 97-day diet. I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing real hardcore fasting for an extended period of time, and when I was eating, it was Greek yogurt and boiled chicken. My body was catabolic. My white blood cell count was under 3,000, which is starting to become alarming. I had pains all over my body. My body, I'm sure, was catabolic. It was eating muscle. I still didn't get as lean as I was shooting for at that point, but I did a bunch of unhealthy stuff. But I also was a lot tougher and stronger on the other side of that. Can you imagine 97 days of not going backwards, doing what you said you were going to do, no matter how miserably uncomfortable it was? Self-subjected discomfort and hardship. We can build ourselves up by doing hard, uncomfortable things. But on day one, you just got to start moving. And whichever form of physical fitness you choose, commit yourself to it to the point, like, this is the same as going to work. This is the same as picking up the kids from school if you have kids. This is something you don't miss. No matter what, you're going to make it work. For me, it was, for about a year, there were 4 a.m. wake-ups and strength training before work. Now, I usually wake up before my 5 a.m. Well, I set the alarm at 5:30. Coffee maker starts at 5. I'm usually up at about 4:30. Get out, have one of these walks in the morning, and it's the weekend. That's why the sun's up. I've kind of been chilling, working on this other big, awesome thing that's happening in life that I'll tell you more about. But just dedicate yourself to that physical fitness, and understand that in the beginning, the tactics, what you're actually doing, doesn't matter at all compared to the habits, the discipline, the consistency. If you do choose strength training, the gym, something like I'm doing, there's a lot of things that you learn over time. But you don't need everybody, I need all the right supplements, I need the right shoes, I got to have the program. None of that matters at all in the beginning, at all. The only thing that matters is the habits and the intensity. That's it. And then making sure you don't hurt yourself. So if you're doing something that feels bad, don't do it. Try to understand enough of the basics not to harm yourself. But all you have to do is just go work out 4 days a week or more. Go to your jiu-jitsu class 4 days a week. Or maybe I haven't done it. I need to get into combat sports. That's one of the next things. How do I make time? All I do is I work and I work out. I haven't had TV in half a decade. And if I'm awake, I'm doing something productive. And that includes, an hour-long walk in the morning and strength training in the evenings. And if I don't do my strength training, then I've got another hour-long walk. Or I'm out riding my bike. I do 14 different sessions of physical fitness throughout a week, and I don't miss. And my strength training is at least an hour and a half every time, an hour and a half to about 2 hours and 15 minutes. I understand everybody doesn't have the ability to, to dedicate 20 hours a week to their fitness. I get it. But you can dedicate 4 hours, even if you have to get up at 4 a.m., or even if you have to do it really late. I think early is better than late for most people. And that's another one of those things that give you mental strength and resilience. Oh, you don't want to get up early? Who cares? Who cares about your feelings? Who cares about what you want? You just tell yourself you're going to do it, and you freaking do it, and you do it every single day, and you do it like you say you're going to do, and you show yourself, you prove to yourself that you're going to keep the promises to yourself. And after a while, things like alcohol, they're still going to be challenging, but they're going to be manageable. And then you're going to manage it, and then it's going to be easy. And then your fitness will step up, and then your nutrition will step up, and then you'll find that self-belief, and then you'll start moving towards the business you wanted to create, or the life you wanted to create, or the content you wanted to create, and you'll just keep moving. Right now I got 42 followers on this channel, but guess what? I'm just going to keep creating, and it might take years before this turns into something, but I'm never going to stop, because I have a mission, I have purpose, I have passion, that I'm going to help other people find this thing in themselves that I found in mine. The world needs this message. We have so many men right now who have so much to offer, and we're so lost because that's how they want us to be. They don't want us to be strong, independent, capable, able to solve our own problems, able to create our own solutions, able to be strong, healthy, wealthy. They just want a bunch of reliant, compliant, order followers, direction takers, and people who can be controlled, who are not a threat. I don't want to be a threat to anybody. I just want to go off. I just bought a piece of land out in the mountains, a rural piece of land. I just want to go off, create content, help other people, do cool things that have meaning, and be left the hell alone. And whatever you desire in life might be completely different than what I do. I'm not telling you you should have a path that looks anything like mine, but I do want you to really, truly find your mission and your purpose. Quitting drinking or whatever vice is holding you back is essential. And the thing that's going to make that happen is physical fitness. Start your physical fitness journey. Everything else will fall into place.